Nature is something so beautiful. From trees, leaves, everything is all about science. But what about specifically about biology? Biology is such an interesting and a big topic to learn because it's all about us humans, animals, and plants and how they work. So, don't you want to be our little Einstein or our little Shakespeare or even our little Matilda? Then I think you're in the right position. But first, I'm delighted to welcome you all to lesson 1 about plants and cell, and this is biology. But first, please do hit the subscribe button, press the bell notification, and do like, comment, and share the video to show your support and love. Okay, let's jump inside. So, you all know well about flowers and how amazing, colorful, and how they smell so great. But actually, they do so much other hard work that we don't even recognize them for it. So, in today's video, we're going to learn about something really important on how the plants reproduce. So, we're going to learn about the reproduction of plants. So, you may hate bees so much because they might be really scary or irritating, but at the same time, you may love bees because they give us honey. But would you actually ever believe me that the truth is the flowers actually do rely on bees? Well, that's the truth. By the way, this is a type of an anther and this is a type of stigma, really important. So during plant reproduction, the pollen grain need to move from the anther of the flower to the stigma of the flower. This is called pollination. Okay, so now let's imagine that the mouse over here is the pollen grain, okay? So the pollen grain is transported through air or through insect like bees, okay? So when the pollen grain land on the stigma, okay, by the way, the nucleus of the pollen grain will go down. If you don't know what the nucleus is present in every single cell and is such an important piece of the cell because it controls everything. It's like the boss over there. Okay, so in this case, the pollen grain is the male gamete. So when the nucleus of the pollen grain travels down the pollen tube until it reaches this thing called ovule. Okay, so ovule are these stuffs over here, and they are basically female gamete found inside the ovary. So when the nucleus of the pollen grain goes down and meet the female gamete, which is the ovule, a new seed will form and a new plant will create. This is called fertilization. Pretty easy, right? So if you didn't understand it, please go back the video and yes. So now let's talk about what happened after fertilization. So the diagram that you're going to see is a simple diagram of a seed, and the ovule will be the seed and the wall in the ovary will be the rest of the fruit. After fertilization, the female part of the flower will develop into a new fruit. So now let's talk about dispersal. So as we compete with each other for food, that's how plants compete with each other for factors such as light, space, mineral and soil, and water. Seed must be dispersed or spread away from each other, especially from the parent plant. Otherwise, the parent plant and the new plant will compete with each other. So this is not good because if they don't have enough water, for example, they will not grow properly. So basically, this is a simple table that I did for you guys. So in the first column says about the different method on how the seed will disperse. The second column talks about the details. The third column talks about the example. Of course, there's so many methods out there in the world that I just chose these 3 of them because I do think it's so much easier to picture inside our brain. And at the same time, there's so many other examples like, raspberries and other berries as well. But I do think this is more easier for you to understand because we did came across in our daily life. So that's why I chose those ones. So my suggestion is to press pause and copy down because it's gonna help you to gain more marks and everything. So it's gonna help you and you can understand a little bit more. So now let's talk about something more important, a game, because that's where we're gonna wrap up this video off. So the question for you is, where does fertilization occur in the plant? 1. Stigma. 2. Ovule. 3. Ovary. 4. Anther. 5. Pollen tube. 6. Pollen grain. So do pause the video and then press play whenever you're ready. So yes. Well done! Ovule is the right answer because the ovule is the female gamete where the fertilization happens. So if you got this answer right, then well done to you. But if you didn't get it right, don't worry because everyone makes mistake, and when we make mistake, we learn more. So my suggestion is to go back in the video and rewatch the bits that you didn't understand properly. And so that's it for today. Thank you.